Boom, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Walmart failed spectacularly yet again on their drop of 300,000 Prismatic Evolutions bundles last night. But the real story is in what that influx of supply is going to do to the market, and we're going to talk about it. Welcome back to PokeMarketLab. $300,000 of these. That is confirmed. 300,000 dropped last night on Walmart. Typical Wednesday drop for Walmart. We actually had a Monday drop earlier in this week of some other stuff, but this one was really, I think there's a couple other things that popped up. We actually had Black Bolt White Flare popped up for like a split second, but the big player last night, the big deal was these 300,000 of them. That's a big influx of product to the market. We're going to talk about that. That's kind of the theme of the videos this week. But let's talk about Walmart first. Let's talk about the frustration here. I don't understand why they spent what I would assume is a pretty large chunk of money to implement a queue system for Pokemon, presumably to prevent, bots from picking up all the product, getting it in the hands of people. And then they set the limit of the product to 12 and the bots eat anyway. So the bots ate really well last night. They soaked up a lot of the product. There's a lot of frustration. There were some hits. Don't get me wrong. If you're not part of Sleeved, please check the link in the description below. Check it out. Do some research. Cost of a couple cups of coffee, and they help, you get in-stock notification alerts, tips and tricks, and it's just a great place to talk about, this hobby that we all love and enjoy. And so there were some successes there, and but it's still, the bots ate most of the product last night, so it's just getting in the hands of bots. Again, so I don't understand why Walmart would do this. Maybe it's just to load on the, prevent overload on the website. I mean, I think the influx of people buying Pokemon product, even for a website like Walmart, is still a lot for that e-commerce platform to handle. So maybe that at the end of the day, that's all it is. But again, it's frustrating either way. It worked for a period of time until, again, these bots. And again, whenever I've talked about this, whenever there's money to be made, people are going to find a way. And when you put up roadblocks, they're going to find a way around those roadblocks when there's money to be made. And that's it's a cat and mouse game between these e-commerce platforms to try to prevent bots. People sidestep those measures, and then it's just this back and forth. So until the margin dries up, or until the demand dries up in some way, shape, or form, it's just going to continue, and it's just going to be how it is. But we've seen some success here. We've talked about this. We're going to talk about it again, because I think we're on the precipice of potentially some change here. With this kind of product hitting the market, we've seen some huge influxes of Surging Sparks to Costco with their 2-pack bundle. We've seen the subsequent, decrease in price there. Whether that goes on for a period of time or not, we don't know. Whether, the demand comes into the market to pick that up, we don't know. But when we're talking about, this is $10 million worth of product that went through Walmart last night on one night, right? At that $30 price point. Just like what we saw with Surging Sparks, this is a huge influx of supply with a price, an acquisition price that's so cheap that it's almost like a 1-2 punch. If you get a little bit of a bundle drop or ETB drop and the regular, MSRP prices, and that hits the market, it's not going to do anything. But when you have that price and that volume, that's such a drag down effect on that secondary market. It gives people room. It gives even scalpers and resellers, botters, whatever you want to call them, it gives them room to move on prices. And that supply, we know what happens with supply and demand, right? I've said this before. Imagine supply is a bubble above and demand is a bubble down below. And they push on each other, and the price is sandwiched in the middle of those. So for instance, in this situation, if that supply bubble grows and the demand bubble underneath it doesn't grow with it, what's going to happen? That weight of that supply is going to push down that price. So the question is on Prismatic, because remember, we've talked about this, Prismatic is very different than Surging Sparks. In terms of total spends, Prismatic has outspent Surging Sparks since release. There's no question about it. And Prismatic Evolutions, if you don't know, it still holds a candle. It still held a candle to Destined Rivals, Black Bolt, White Flare. Those sets pop up and they soak up more of the demand and more of the money supply in the market, but then they wane and Prismatic floods back in to be the king. It's still, and I've had some comments like Prismatic's not the set to be. It is. In terms of overall spend in 2025, it is absolutely the set to beat. There's no question about it. It keeps soaking. There's no set that keeps soaking up spend like that. Destined Rivals is the only thing that's come along that has ever been competition to Prismatic. So the point being, again, if that supply balloons and the demand doesn't flood in with it, then you're gonna have a price drop. That's what we saw on Surging Sparks. But we also saw Surging Sparks, again, I've said this before, I'm sorry to repeat, but this theme is continuing now with another huge drop, is that the confidence issue. That's what the interesting thing to see if that comes to fruition on Prismatic. Does this just hit the confidence so much as that product hits the market that we see people start to just, again, step over each other to sell in terms of pricing? Like, if the product doesn't move fast enough, people are going to start getting worried on pricing. They're going to start undercutting each other. But Prismatic, again, is different in that the demand is different, and that I do believe there are people waiting in the wings to purchase product as it gets cheaper. And I think, but again, we don't know if this Surging Sparks situation that we saw in the ETBs, if that sends a signal to the wider market that maybe it's time to wait. Maybe you wait for the Pokemon Company to get this product to market, and that if we don't have enough demand, I mean, the money can't flow forever. People can't continue to resell. They're not going to continue to invest if that product does not inflate in price, especially in the short term. And again, Prismatic has held up really well. The booster bundles have held up at $65 for quite a while now. ETBs have been amazingly resilient to the supply hitting the market. Again, I think outside of maybe Prismatic and Destined Rivals, I don't think there's another set out there that can hold up that well to that kind of supply. But we haven't seen this kind of supply before. And 300,000 bundles is a lot. That's a lot. And even if it gets in the hands of botters and resellers, it still could have a net benefit for regular folks in terms of just bringing down prices. And if those prices come down, there's a snowball effect that happens where demand starts to wane because, again, people are here to make money. A lot of people are here for speculation. I'm not talking about you folks out there, myself, who are here for a long period of time, who love the product. I'm talking about people who are here because they can make money. That's the only reason they're here. And when, again, that ceases to be true or less true, then they cut and run. And that, again, subsequently snowballs into products sitting on shelves and prices dropping, which causes product to sit on shelves and so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? So on TCG Player here, we did not see an overnight drop or, run to safety from Prismatic Evolutions bundles or the ETBs, which we're going to look at here for a second. But there is a pretty substantial supply on the market here. But again, that's buoyed, and that has, it's countered by the fact that there is demand for this product. Even in the last month, an average of 30 of these are selling per day, which is pretty significant. Again, if we go on to the ETB here, it's even better from a total spend standpoint, an average of 39 sold a day. And again, for a product that's this old, that's pretty significant. So it's going to take a lot of supply hitting the market in that type of way to bring the cost down at all. But again, remember what the other option for this would be. That kind of volume going through distributors would never make it into the secondary market without going through inflated prices. It would never even get to LGSs at $30 a piece. They would be $40 a piece. And then the LGS would jack it up, and it gets closer and closer. So you see what I'm saying? The two paths are 300,000 booster bundles hitting Walmart at $30 each, or they hit distributors and they end up hitting that same secondary market, scalpers, botters, whoever they're getting their hands at $65 a piece. So the 300,000 doesn't necessarily get into the hands of regular folks, but the net benefit to regular folks is still going to be the same, I think. And again, the question is 300,000 a lot? It seems like a lot to me, but again, overnight, we're not seeing any kind of concern in terms of crash. And I want to be clear on the Walmart thing. Walmart Wednesday drops have become a thing across the entire collecting sphere for Pokemon. Collectors, investors, scalpers, botters, all of them. It's an event. You go on TikTok, there's dozens of people streaming live on the Walmart drop. It's significant. It's not to be discounted. So the news is out there, like the news of 300,000 pieces hitting the market. Again, whoever's hands they're getting into, it's out there. So again, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just a quick look at the ETB here. Again, we've seen a little bit of price softening here, but there's no crash out for this whatsoever. Again, we have plenty of demand for this product. And I think that the fact that there are probably people waiting in the sidelines who never get a chance at Prismatic at any reasonable price, I think that holds true. I think if we hit, I don't know, $80, let's say we hit $50 on the bundle. We hit $90 to $85 on the ETB. There's more people that are going to hop in. And I think you should too. We've talked about this before. I'm going to do a video on dollar cost averaging. I think that's really important. I think that's one of the ways you can be really successful as an investor or collector in the current market is to dollar cost average. It's a way of acquisition that allows you to get product to help prevent some of the FOMO. And I think it's important as investors, as human beings, that we realize where our blind side is, where our blinders are at, meaning the emotional trading that we all do. Humans are, this is an emotional trade. This is an emotional hobby like anything else. We're attached to things. We might be attached to the product. We might be attached to the price of the product or the growth of the product and so on and so forth. So it's important to realize sometimes that that's a thing. Some wisdom and time can help soften that. But even myself, I've been doing this for quite a period of time now, and I still have to recognize that I'm attached to certain things and I still do some things emotionally. And it's not to prevent that. It's to work to kind of contain that. And again, dollar cost averaging is something, obviously from a mathematical standpoint and a growth standpoint, I think it's a great thing, but also from an emotional standpoint where, let's talk about this. Let's talk about on Prismatic. So what do? If we see some pullback on Prismatic, I've said this again, I'm going to repeat myself for the new folks out there. We've had some good views lately on a few videos. Dollar cost average. So if you see a pullback, if it seems too expensive at 100, you see a pullback at $10, then you grab a box or two, depending on what your total spend is. I don't know what your monthly allowance for this kind of stuff is. Grab a box or two and you wait. Wait for that opportunity again. So as opportunity presents itself, you kind of clip away at it and get a box or two. And that way you're doing two things. You're bringing your dollar cost average lower over time. So you're kind of giving yourself some room to take advantage of opportunity in the future should this influx of product do what we want it to do, which is bring the prices down a little bit to give us some more opportunity and hopefully get this stuff in the hands of people who are actually going to enjoy this stuff and not just hold on, or just not flip it or hold on to it for a short period of time in the interest of making money. So that's a great way. Also, emotionally, you're getting product, so at least you can capture some upside. So you don't feel like you're missing out. That's the huge thing about dollar cost averaging. You get a box. Okay, I got a box in case this runs out of control, in case this does the evolving skies thing, as everyone keeps throwing, everyone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing keeps talking about. You have some upside protection there, right? Without going crazy deep and backing the truck up. And at that point, I think you would have more downside risk than upside risk, because I do firmly believe that the Pokemon Company is going to keep doing things like this. That's the signal. That's a signal to me. That's a signal to me that I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on unless I can get product at MSRP. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to the secondary market. I have not been buying any secondary market prices for anything in Scarlet and Violet. None. I'm trying to think if I've gotten anything. I think I got a Pokemon Center ETB recently that I paid market price for, but that's a different situation. There's no more supply coming for those. So I think that's the only market price purchasing I've been doing is Sword and Shield. I've talked about that. I think you should be doing the same, or you should be considering doing the same. And any Scarlet Violet purchase I'm doing is only MSRP. So obviously Prismatic, Destined Rivals, all the, Black Bolt, White Flare, any MSRP product I can get, of course I'm going to get that. But I think you're going to have opportunity is the point. And I think you should wait. I think you should snag a box here, put it on the shelf, forget about it, and keep some capital allocated on the side for opportunity. I think the Pokemon Company is going to keep doing this. If you are watching this video and your conviction has not changed on what the Pokemon Company is willing and will do for Prismatic Evolutions, Destined Rivals, for all these sets, we're even seeing Twilight Masquerade ETBs hit in some pretty significant volumes now through Target. If you're not convinced that we're not going to have opportunity on things, you're dead wrong. I think you're dead wrong. I think we will have opportunity. I think it will not take much in this market in terms of price drop for the greater market to just fall out from underneath us, or at least correct. I'm not saying it's going to be crash, but see some healthy correction. I think Surging Sparks is a healthy indicator of what could potentially happen. It just it's not a strong enough demand on that set to buoy that price. So it's going to take a big reprint hammer on Prismatic Evolutions to move this price, because there are people waiting. That demand is going to rush into the market to kind of support things as that price moves down. So again, I think the Walmart thing is, Walmart, fix your stuff, please. Fix your damn stuff. Again, in situations in markets like this, there's no signal from the market for them to change, because people are going to buy it no matter what. And Walmart, at the end of the day, truly does not care whether it goes to botters or people. So, and hopefully the Pokemon Company, hey, Pokemon Company, put that stuff, put it through Pokemon Center. That's way better. Much better queue. Or Costco or all these, these big wholesale clubs. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And let me know in the comment section below what you think the price correction, if we have any, on the Prismatic Evolutions bundles is going to be. I think it'll be interesting in the next couple weeks if we see any drop at all. We haven't seen any kind of crash overnight. But I just love this stuff. I love seeing what that, that kind of the rumor mill, what that influx of supply can do to the market. And I'm always amazed at how large the secondary market is for Pokemon and TCGs in general. That's kind of what got me into it. Just the market dynamics that outside of what the Pokemon company sells to you through distributors, through big box stores, that millions of dollars worth of product exchanges hands every single day just on TCG Player. Never mind eBay, StockX, all these other online retailers. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. In a market like this, I'm going to guess at least $1 million a day on TCG Player exchanges. I mean, it's got to be more than that. I have no idea, but it's massive. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Hit me up at PokeMarketLab@gmail.com if you want to have any discussions or anything like that. Of course, we would love your subscription. We did just pass 6,000 subs, so we are going to talk about some giveaways coming up soon. And with that, we will see you on the next one, PokeMarketLab.